Good morning. Or it's actually not, I think it's 11 in the morning. I got a late start. I'll tell you what, whatever I've got, it has taken forever to get over it. Now my wife has it. She's just on her second day of being sick. And what we have, this is not a cold. I've had a fever twice. And I went to my doctor to get some antibiotics and finished them up yesterday. Last night was my last bit. I'm not over it. I'm getting better, but I don't know what it was, but it was not the common cold. Anyway, what I'm getting at is it could have been Charlie Victor 19. Charlie Victor 19er. And the reason I say that is because my doctor said he could give me that test. He said, but it wouldn't matter. He said, because I'm going to treat you the same as I would treat Charlie Victor 19er or a flu or, the common cold. So you would get the same stuff. So could have been. Who knows? I mean, the amount of, when you breathe in and you can feel your chest rattle and you got all that stuff in your chest. This was the worst ever for me. And then a head full of the same stuff. And I sleep with a CPAP at night. So at night, my sinus passages are pressurized. So I had this 4-day headache from all the pressure in my head. Anyway, I just telling you this because I really haven't done a whole lot in these last few days because I just felt like crap. On top of all the other stuff I got going on, right here, my little friend. And I didn't tell you this yesterday, but the physicians, my doctor who is doing the scoping, is leaning towards ulcerative colitis, which means I cannot be reconnected. And I had told myself that either way, I'm happy. I feel better than I felt in a couple of years. But now that it doesn't seem to be my decision, now it bothers me. Isn't that something? I don't know. It's mental. When it was my decision to stay not connected and just continue wearing a bag for the rest of my life, because there is, when you get reconnected, there is a chance that could all happen all over again. And then the area where they reconnect you, your colon, where they sew your two parts back together, that area often becomes infected, and it's just a nightmare that never ends. Now this, I'm not going to call this a nightmare. It's a nuisance. It's a little embarrassing sometimes. Some horrible things have happened, thankfully, at home. David was over one time when and it's really, it's embarrassing. But the balance, the trade-off is how good I feel. Not right this second because I'm sick, but when you compare, once I recovered from the surgery, how good normal. I felt like my old self, able to do things, able to work, able to lift things and walk. When you compare that to the trade-off of possibly this happening all over again if I get reconnected, it was my decision. I didn't feel bad at all making that decision to live with this. And now that it's quite likely that I have no choice, suddenly, I don't know why, it bothers me all of a sudden. Because, and it's kind of likely that I do have ulcerative colitis, and if I do, I can't get reconnected. But they still have to go in and operate. Let me show you from the side. This is all hernia. Now, I do have a bag here, but this is, about the size of a half of a basketball in diameter that's kind of exploded, basically. And they got to fix that with mesh or something. I don't know what they do. Hammer and chisel. I don't want to know a whole lot. So that has to be done. And I thought that since I got to go in and get surgery all over again, and they're going to be right there, that it might make sense just to go get reconnected. But like I say, now it looks like I can't be reconnected, so I still have to have hernia surgery. So I'm gonna grind the bevels on this knife, and my wife is sick. She's now at the beginning of what I just went through, and I mean, I'm on the tail end of it. I'm definitely getting better, but it was, it's been 8 or 9 days I was sick, and still probably another 2 or 3 days before I feel 100% again. Still got snot, still got, chest rattle, and no sore throat anymore, so, okay. So my point is, I'm not going to stay down here too long because my wife's not feeling good, and I want to be able to get her something to drink or make her a sandwich or cover her up with a blanket or whatever. So I'm just going to spend an hour or two down here. Let's get to work. Okay, I'm going to do a little grinding experiment, and not that huge a deviation from normally what I do. Let me rest this against the old big belly. Normally I rest the spine against these two when I'm grinding this side, and then I flip it around and rest it against these two and grind the other side. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm hoping I can bring this bevel up higher, closer to this line, and we'll see. And having this plunge line at just a bit of an angle might add a little visual interest to it. So let's just see how this comes out. I got to do it exactly the same. So I'm looking at the center hole is lined up right there, and when I flip it around, I'll have to make sure I do it exactly the same way. When I built this, all these nuts, notice how all the flats on the nuts are aimed straight up, and they're exactly the same height from the top of this and exactly the same distance apart. That way, when I do flip it over, everything's exact. All right, let's get to grinding. Okay, it's coming out good. Now, this is a 60 grit belt. Now, I take this belt off and I finish this with my 120 grit belt, and bring the grind line down to that scribe line. I do like the way, see where that bevel is at the tip? I mean, it's coming out just perfect. I hope I can replicate it. But let me get this finished on this side, then flip it over. We'll see how good we can do it. When a knife starts off, let me turn the light on. When a knife starts off almost perfect, I mean, the grind line, the bevel, the plunge line, you'd have to put a microscope on that to see any difference. Now, the plunge lines. And I kind of like the angle of the plunge line. Just ever so slightly raked forward. But I do like the fact that the bevel line comes up further at the tip. And it just makes for a nicer looking knife. Okay, now the hand sanding. And I'm going to start at 120, sand the whole knife down with 120, handle, ricasso, the area that doesn't have a bevel. I'm sure it's got a name, but I don't know it. The bottom of the ricasso, I'm sure that has a name. And I'm going to start with 120. I'm going to try to get to 180 on this, so it'll be 120, 150, 180, and then probably that'll be it for today. I got a late start, and I'm going to go home early just because I want to sit with my wife. You know, being sick is bad enough, but when you're sick and all alone, it makes you feel even worse. I used to, when I was a young man and drove a truck by myself before I taught my wife how to drive, to me that was the loneliest time of trucking, was being sick and all by yourself. And absolutely not one single other soul, not one single other human gave a rat's ass about whether you died in your truck or not, or how bad you felt, or anyway. Thank God I got through all those years of trucking. It was a hard, hard life. A lot of good memories, but I haven't forgot how tough that life was. Okay, let's get to sanding. I'm fixing to start sanding, but I checked my comments on my Rumble. I don't go to Rumble very often, and there may be a time when Rumble is the only alternative, because the big names like Russell Brand, Dan Bongino, Joe Rogan, I mean, they've got subscribers in the multi-millions, you know. Oh, excuse me, I just drank a Coke. And anyway, I just had a comment on an older, actually, I had showed a finished deplorable. And somebody left a comment saying, I'm retired and on a very small fixed income. Is there any way you could sell that to me at a reduced price since I'm old? And my reply was, buddy, I'm old. I'm retired. I'm on a very small fixed income, and I'm on a shit ton of freaking medicine that I have to pay an enormous amount of out-of-pocket money for. And my knives help me pay for my medicine. And then he removed his comment. I hate it when people play the I'm poor and on a fixed income card to somebody who's poor and on a fixed income. It's almost as funny as when you're in a conversation with somebody and, you know, the discussion becomes a bit heated, and then they play the veteran card. And I never mention to other people that I'm a veteran. I mean, it comes up. I mean, I don't avoid that, you know what I mean? But there's some people that did their little 3-year bit, and for the rest of their life, that's all they've ever done, is they talk about that. I'm a veteran. Yeah, well, you know, are you a father? Are you a brother? Are you a friend? Did you put 40 years in at a job? I mean, did you do anything besides join the Army and get 3 squares a day, 3 hots and a cot for 3 years? I'm not minimizing, but people who use that for the rest of their life try to skate through life on their 3-year bit. And especially funny when they play the veteran card to other veterans. And, I've been around other guys my age or older, Vietnam veterans, and had some young guy play the veteran card, and we just chuckle, boy. Okay, you got a whole life to go through. You better find something else to do that's just as important, because, you're not going to ride for the rest of your life playing the veteran card to everybody. Alrighty, I'm going to get to sanding. I just thought that was kind of funny that somebody played the I'm a poor old senior citizen's card with me. Okie dokie. It's 2 in the afternoon. I got 120 and 150. 180 is the next grit. And I think I said it's 2 in the afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and quit. And if I get started a little earlier tomorrow, I might get this into the heat treating oven and into the heat treating forge and into the tempering oven before the day is out. Because 180, 220, 320, 400, as you step up in grit, it goes a little quicker and a little quicker. The initial 2 or 3 grits, like up to 180, take the longest because the scratches are the deepest. And once you get past, about 220, 320, 400, 600, 800, they all go pretty quick. So there's a good chance I might get this all the way to being buffed and being heat treated and tempered. I'm not gonna, it depends how bad or good my wife feels, and how bad or good I feel. So, all right. Oh, sorry. God, I'm in a private moment. You will not lick me for 2 hours. Okay, stop. Hey, hello. Hey, you mind stopping that? That's just not right. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Kill me now. Just go ahead and kill
Somebody
me.
needs to fix our dryer.
You gave me whatever crap you had.
Sick.
And I'm way
No.
than you.
No.
Yes,
I was near death. I was on death's doorstep.
Look, it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I just got my voice I couldn't talk.
It was a very peaceful day.
I know.
And then she got her voice back.
And I couldn't even call the doctor to make an appointment.
So,
I couldn't talk.
so
And
that
where were you?
I
Nowhere to be found.
went to my shop for a couple hours, and
Yeah.
I came back early because I was worried about
You
you.
didn't even call the doctor and make an appointment. And I doted on you for days.
I had to make my own sandwiches, wash my own clothes, mop the floor.
Oh no, you are not going there. I've never seen you mop in my entire.
Mop the floor.
Wait
I
a minute.
vacuumed. I did
When
laundry.
we were dating, I came over to your house and you had swept and
Oh, yeah.
mopped and washed your rugs. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to marry this man.
That's how I tricked
And
her into
that was
marrying
it.
me.
That was the last time.
Yeah. When she came to my apartment, I had stripped my floors and waxed them. And my car, I waxed my car because I had nothing to do. I was poor and paying a lot of child support, and it was all I could afford to just barely keep a roof over my head and a car. Anyway, so my hobby was cleaning my little apartment
You know
and
what
waxing
we
my
used to
car.
say when we were truck drivers?
What?
Wah,
Wah,
wah.
wah.
Because that's what you sound like.
Okay, well, she's sick, but I have to tell you what I wanted to do. I turned this on to tell you we just thwarted a scamming, and I'll tell you the story.
And I'm so sick. It's a good thing I didn't go out there.
Yeah, and
I would have whooped his ass myself.
here's I want to say this: when you get old,
Please
people
lay
just
down.
assume you're stupid as well.
Please lay down.
Bev has a Generac generator, and she has this company, and I'm going to tell you who it is, called Power Up. And she has a yearly maintenance contract where they're supposed to come out, change the oil. Huh? What?
Scam.
Yeah, scam. And, you know, for 2 years I was really sick. I was barely able to do the things that I had to do around here. And I was going to change her oil and filter, and I just couldn't make myself do it. I had so many other things to do, and I couldn't do it because, you know, I was so sick for so long. Well, anyway, they came here this morning, didn't knock on the door, opened her gate, drove in, threw all these no trespassing signs, all these beware dog signs, drove in, opened the gate on their own, drove in, and screwed around a little bit. She said the only reason she knew that they were here was because they started her generator. Oh, she's going to start the dramatic coughing now.
I'm trying not to cough. It's a dry cough, and it hurts. My throat is so friggin' sore I can't even speak.
Yeah, I had a sore throat too. Way
And
worse. Way worse than hers.
thanks to you, this is the first time I've been sick since 2005.
5, yeah.
I have not had a cold, flu, nothing.
Anyway, so then they knock on her door and they hand her a bill for nearly $200. And they leave. And then, you know, I didn't know they were here. I was probably in my shop. I don't know. Or maybe we had the door closed because it's been closed. And we usually leave the door open because we like daylight. But in the morning, when it's really cold, we leave it closed because... So I don't see what's going on out there. And our security camera didn't pick them up.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
There's that dryer again.
Kill me. Just
I'm going to get to it. I'm getting to the story here.
kill me.
So I go and over there because there's no way as quick as they came and left that they could have done anything. So I went over there and opened up her generator, and they were supposed to have changed the oil and filter at least. And they didn't. They didn't pull the air filter, nothing. And they still didn't. They didn't even, anyway, they ended up coming back. Well, let me tell you the story. So I pulled the dipstick, and it's low on oil. And there's dirt and grime on the dipstick. So if you were to have pulled the dipstick, you would have rubbed some of the dust off it. I looked down there at the oil filter, and it's covered in dust. And how do you get, you know, old dust on a brand new filter? And then the oil filler cap is covered in, you know, dust and grit and oil. So they didn't change her oil. They charged her for changing her oil and didn't. So she gets on the phone with the owner of the company, and they go back and forth a couple of times, and they make the guy come back. Well, his feeble excuse was that he didn't have the oil filter. So I went out there this time, and Bev was out there, and she said, "So you handed me a $200 bill and didn't tell me you had to come back with an oil filter to change oil? I mean, why did you bother billing me if you did nothing?" You know how people, and we want him to finish his job, so we're being as polite as we can. And I gave him.
Me and you differ. I wouldn't have been polite at all.
Okay, well, she says she would have cussed him out, and she may have, but.
Probably would have. And the thing of it is, they were supposed to have been here in April.
Yeah.
April. And it's December. Where have you been for all these months?
Anyway.
His excuse was, the owner said, well, they had 6 customers today.
Yeah.
Meaning, it's okay that I didn't change your oil because we had 6 customers.
Right, yeah, he was trying to make light of trying to cheat her. Yeah, in his mind, there was nobody it was just a little old 70-year-old lady with gray hair. Nobody's going to come check her generator to be sure I did my job. I mean, just despicable. And the guy had all the markings of somebody you wouldn't want coming in your yard. His pickup truck had dents all over it, and his trailer hitch had grass buried up in it where he had backed into something or ran off the road. Every indication was that, he had a lot of wrecks. So, I don't think crackhead. I think
meth.
No, I don't even think meth. He was a big boy like me. So he's probably a drinker. And we're just guessing, Might be a deacon at his church. And this is the only time he ever tried to cheat anybody in his whole life out of $200. And can you imagine charging somebody $200 for a $13 oil filter and 2 quarts of oil, and that's it? That's all they did. Didn't pull the filter, didn't do nothing. So if I live, I'm going to, change your oil and filter for her. I got the filter number. And I told the guy, I said, in the same company that you work for, tried charging her $900 for that little control panel. And it's 4 screws that hold it in and a plug. It took me 5 minutes to take the old one out, put the new one in. They were going to charge her $900 for the control panel and a couple hours labor, which is probably $100 an hour. I found the part brand new in the box, brand new with a warranty from a dealer that sells parts for these things for $250. And it took me 5 minutes to pop the old one out, pop the new one in, and program it and all that. And I'm telling you, man, when you get old, the vultures descend on you. And if you don't have somebody to be your, what do they call it? There's a name for it. Not guardian. Liaison, something like that. Somebody who knows about this kind of stuff,
I don't even think age has got anything to do with it. It's just the way of the world.
Well, another thing, Bev used to have a Toyota, and there was a recall on the airbags. Well, I took the Toyota over to Marshall, Texas, Toyota in Marshall. And they had a long list of stuff that was imperative that she replace. Battery. The battery had a little corrosion on it, like all batteries get. And they wanted to put her a new battery in there. Well, there's nothing wrong with the battery. And they told her she needed brakes, and she better not drive it anymore before she gets brakes. So we went over there and got the car.
That lady knew I was pissed.
And, yeah, they knew they had been...
She came out and was apologetic, and, and I was like, it's too late now. Yeah,
so I told them, don't do anything. Just don't do a thing to it. Pull it out of your garage, and I'll be by to pick it up. And we took the Toyota to Bossier City, and they say, well, this car's not even under recall. It doesn't fall, your VIN number doesn't fall in the recall number where you have that Takata airbag. So It didn't even need airbag replacement, and they were trying to cheat her into putting all kinds of parts. Man, I'm telling you, and that's not it. There was a recall on her Camry, right? Yeah, the Camry.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And they broke something in the dashboard. And they told her that she had to buy another one. And I called them and I said, was it broken when I brought that car in and dropped it off? It wasn't. Well, no, sir, but, well, no. There's no buts. You broke it. You buy a new one and put it in there, and I'll be back to pick it up whenever you get that done. I mean, you gotta watch. You can't trust any one of these MFers.
I don't. Not ever.
Yeah, and it's a sad, sad day when somebody comes to your house and cheats you out of $200.
Well, I'm going to add another one of them where they come and service your... I forget the name of the company she had that was doing her AC.
You got to speak up, honey.
Doing the best I can. Anyway, I was over there in her yard weed eating, and he was servicing her heat pump, the AC for her garage. And what he was supposed to have been doing was it wouldn't come on. So he said it needed a thermostat. They put a new thermostat on there. And so I was out there weed eating, and I weed eated behind her garage, and he was back there taking a part off the back.
Off the outside AC
Right.
unit, the compressor.
Yeah, and he took something off and he put it in his pocket. And we had a heat pump over there, and what was
The condenser.
it?
The condenser.
Yeah, we replaced that three times in the 20 years over there. So I didn't, at the time, I didn't think much of it. But he left, and the AC never worked again.
Yep.
And he thought she would have him come back out, and he would put the part back on and charge her for a new one, and probably, since he was working for that company, he probably was going to sell the new one or whatever, because you know how my brain works.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
trust
he had
nobody.
work on the side and he was going to
I don't
sell
trust
somebody that
anybody,
part. Yeah.
ever.
Yep. You can't trust anybody to do the right job. Even if it says Christian owned on their truck,
Well, if you're a Christian, you shouldn't have to tell anybody.
Yeah.
You're a Christian.
Right. And I hold those people under higher suspicion.
Yeah. Well,
Because if you got to go around telling everybody you're a Christian, then, probably not a Christian.
But, and I can't tell you, when I was single, how many times I took my oil to get the oil changed, and the guy said, well, you've got shavings in your transmission, I guess the pan,
Yeah.
I guess.
And that's just natural,
And
the natural wear of
Yeah, and
transmissions.
I got really mad at him. I said, well, what the hell are you looking in there for? I just came here to get my oil changed.
And didn't you have a stick shift?
I did. And
You didn't have a transmission pan.
well, anyway, he said, hey, that's what he told me. And it really made me mad. And they didn't screw the plug back in. And I was only a mile from where I worked, and all the oil drained out of because they didn't screw the plug in. And a guy just happened to walk by my car, and he said, man, you got some serious issues. I said, I just had the oil changed this morning. And well, I drove it back up there, and, they really didn't like me after that.
Well, one of my jobs as a young man was working at an oil change place. And the name of the company was Minute Oil Change, and the man who owned it was Bill Loudermilk. And let me tell you the scam that they would have people do. Mostly women. They would change the oil, and then they would take the air filter out. but they wouldn't. They would bring this dirty, filthy air filter that was packed full of grass clippings and go in and show it to the lady in the waiting room and say, "You need a new air filter. This thing is just filthy dirty." And they would screw people on the price of air filters. I mean, that's how long this has been going on. And that's been, 45 years ago, nearly.
Well, they're not even in business anymore, are they?
No, they're not in business anymore.
Well, that was a Minute Oil Change that did that.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. So, this scam where they, and I don't think they just do it to women. I think if it was a little old gray-haired man that lived next door and he didn't seem like the kind that was going to come out and check their work, they would have cheated him too.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I don't trust anybody, ever.
Yeah, and I think age has something to do with it. When they see old people, they think, I can get away with cheating them and not doing a job. I mean, how long does it take? It took the guy like 20 minutes to drain the oil and change a filter. Why would lying be easier? I don't get it. And anyway, that's just a story. And I told you my dentist story. I have another dentist story. It's about Aspen Dental. You want to look at me from another angle? Here, how about that? Oh, that's much better.
Please stop putting me on there. I look like death eating a biscuit. So keep me off of there.
Okay, honey. You don't look like death eating a biscuit.
I do.
So, Aspen Dental. I was going to get my teeth cleaned at our local dentist, but they couldn't get me in. So I got an appointment with Aspen Dental, and they were really cheap. And then they said, plus we'll give you free x-rays. And I was thinking, I like free x-rays. So I go,
You did a video on this.
I know.
Okay.
I have a whole Aspen Dental video, but this is just my condensed story. And they get me in the chair, and they do all the x-rays and all that, and move me from room to room, and then they eventually set me in the room where I'm assuming I'm going to get my teeth cleaned. Well, the dentist comes in and opens my mouth, and he looks in, does the mirror, and he goes, "Well, you've got periodontal disease." This is like 5 or 6 years ago now. And I went, periodontal disease? I feel fine. And then he describes the procedure and how costly and how time-consuming, and it would take me 3 or 4 times of coming back to have them do this. And then he escorts me into this other office where I sit down at a desk, and there's this nice lady there, and she's going over the cost of this, and I'm going, "No, I'd rather have my teeth pulled. And I can't afford that." And she goes, "Oh, well, we have financing options."
Sure you can. Yeah.
And she's telling me about all these financing options and how much my payments would be. And then ding, 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 the light goes off, And I said to the lady, "You should be ashamed of yourself. I cannot believe you're taking part of this. A dentist went through all those years of school and only to become this kind of a lying vulture." I didn't have periodontal disease. The next week, I went and got my teeth cleaned at my dentist, and he laughed. He goes, "Oh, yeah, that's real common. That's Aspen Dental does that to everybody." So, they tried lying to me and telling me I had some sort of disease that I didn't have, and then charging me $5,000-$6,000 to have it fixed instead of just cleaning my teeth. And that's my dentist story. And since then, on that video, I even name it Aspen Dental Lies or something like that. Nearly every comment is from somebody who's had a similar scam at Aspen Dental, and some of the people actually fell for it and owed them a lot of money over a long period of time, and how they wish they had seen my video before they fell for it. I mean, who expects a doctor to lie to you like that,
Well,
Anyway.
They work for the company.
Yeah, it's a franchise.
Yeah.
And if you go look at the Better Business or Yelp or Google reviews, oh my God, they have class action lawsuits against them for this very same practice, lying people, telling them, doctors can lose their license for that, for misdiagnosing people on purpose in order to extract, enormous amounts of money out of them. So anyway, there you go. Anything else you want to add? You still alive?
Barely. And I call my doctor. They don't even freaking call me back. No.
Well, that's because you're a
That's
woman,
not-
and women don't get as sick as
no.
men.
That's what I told her. I said, I was just in there with my husband. Anyway, now I don't trust my doctor. They're all in cahoots.
Well, I'm on the mend, and she's on her way down.
Yeah, I just started feeling bad. And a little bit of a fever. If anybody wants to pray, I'll pray. You're welcome.
Where?
Well, I do get to complain because I haven't been sick in all these years.
That's right.
And you did this.
I did that. It's my fault. I breathed on you.
And I don't have anybody to wait on me.
I'm here. I offered to make you an egg sandwich. Did I
I
not?
don't even have an appetite. What are you talking about?
Okay. You said I wouldn't wait on you. That's a lie. Does being sick make you lie?
I couldn't remember my phone number a while ago.
Yeah.
I had to give them yours because I couldn't remember my phone number.
This morning we had that conversation. The other day I couldn't remember our zip code, and it really scared me, concerned me. And then she said, well, she couldn't remember her own phone number, so there's some weird stuff happens to you as you get old.
You don't
And
call yourself. I mean,
huh?
you don't call yourself.
Right. That's a good reason to not know your own phone number.
Well, you know,
Love you
all
back.
my numbers are in the